All right, the Bloomberg Trading Challenge will start today. And so what'll happen is each of your teams has given me your kind of portfolio manager. We'll call that person that name. And Bloomberg has been very kind because generally they don't allow us to do what we're doing. So they have a trading competition that goes across schools that they manage. They were very kind and they're letting us do it within our school, within our sections. They made me an admin so I could actually create these. It's actually unique. They don't really do that. So we're kind of fortunate to be able to do what we're about to do. And this is actually a real trading platform. Like if you were making real trades in the real world, you'd be doing it using similar types of screens. And it actually is real world, meaning if you actually try and buy a stock, Bloomberg's going to go look out and see if that amount of lots available for the stock that you're trying to buy. Because we've had that problem where people have bought thinly traded stocks with big blocks and it wouldn't execute the trades because there's not realistically enough shares to actually execute a trade. So it is a very realistic simulation. Now we have done it based on equities. So again, what will happen is once you make a trade, your name will start to populate. Until you make trades, you're not going to see your name populate on this list. You got to actually be in the marketplace. So I'll go back to last semester. So what will happen is once you start making trades, you'll be on this list along with me. Now, I don't count. I'm not really playing along. But nonetheless, I'll be in your list too. Now, as the administrator, I can actually see all the names. And if I click on you, for example, I can see all the trades that you have made, all your positions. However, you won't be able to do that for your peers. So if it's a peer in your class, you won't be able to click on their name and see anything. And you won't see their names. You'll just see X's. All right, so you'll know your performance. You'll see 6 other groups with X's. So you won't know who they are. You'll just see how the other teams are doing. Now, every week or so, I'll pull this up and I'll just show you the relative performance of the teams. But who they own, you'll never see except for your own portfolio manager. Okay. Now, what'll happen is, and this is very important because otherwise it's confusing. Once you're in your position showing all of your stocks, the way that you buy the stock, which we'll talk about in a minute, you compose what they call an idea. Like I didn't make the language up. They call it a trade idea. That's actually buying a stock. And you close the idea is selling the stock. So the way you sell the stock, you see this red X with a circle? You click on that, and that is how you sell your stock. So it's not intuitive, okay? Or if you do a short, that's the way you'll cover the short. So circle red X, once you get to your list of trades, that's where you actually close the idea, sell the stock. So I'm going to cancel out of this, and I'm going to go to our section. So again, the way you get to this screen, the other members of your team won't be able to see anything. Only the member that's registered, it's kind of like your portfolio manager, team captain, that's the person who's going to be able to see the screen. The way they do it is they either type in idea or they can type in TMSG. They'll both get you to the screen called Trade Ideas. This is the competition. Next important thing is you'll click this drop down to get to your class. Now you'll only see one class, but because I have administrative privileges, I've been creating a bunch of classes. So this is section 301 of spring 2019. You'll click on this. As I said, until you start trading, you won't see anything. Once you start trading, then you'll start showing up on this list. So if I want to trade, I click on compose. Now, the last stock that I had looked at is actually going to be pre-populated. So I was in the last class looking at Coca-Cola. So basically KO US equities populated here. I don't have to buy them, just try and make it convenient if you're doing research in Bloomberg. So let's say the first company I want to buy is Square. So I'm going to go long and I'm going to buy Square, SQ US equity. And it'll give me a price. Square is trading at $72.50 right now. I don't have to worry about target price, don't have to worry about horizon date, don't worry about importance. Down here, you won't have a bunch of networks. It'll just be pre-populated, but you select your class. So I want to buy Square. I have $1 million that I can trade to start. Right? In Bloomberg, you put in the amount you want to buy in dollars. You don't put in number of shares. Bloomberg will calculate the number of shares. You just invest dollars. Now, one of the rules, and there's many, and I'll go over them, but you can't put more than 20% of your portfolio into any one stock when you buy it. So 200,000 would be the most I could buy of Square today. So I'm going to break the rule intentionally. I'm going to put in 220K. All right. Now, once you're ready to go, you hit send it in to trade. And then if you break any rules, a screen will show what rules you have broken. And there are 2 rules that I broke. Rule number one is the maximum I was allowed was 200,000, and I did 220, so I won't complete the trade. And rule number two is I didn't do the write-up. So the real trading cost in the simulation is every time you buy or sell, you got to write an explanation why. Up until recently, the way it worked is we literally did Word documents. You run in parallel, end of the semester, turn them in. If you didn't do write-ups, bad things would happen in your grade. It just got really ugly process. So here's the cool feature. Right when you make the trade, if you don't do your write-up, it won't execute the trade. And since you're writing the trade at every buy and every sell, it's accumulating them. You don't have to worry about the write-up. We'll just have that throughout the semester. It has to be a business rationale. It's 50 characters, okay? Half a tweet, right? I think you guys can do the write-ups. It's not that hard. But nonetheless, it needs to be a business rationale. So here would be my write-up for Square. So I believe that, Square is in a attractive and fast-growing payment industry and will benefit as one of the few big players. All right, I spelled it right. The point is, and I'm going to switch this from 220,000 to 200,000. I'm then going to send it in. I own Square. Now, generally, it'll take 10 to 15 minutes to execute the trade. So right now, Bloomberg is going to be looking at lots and to see if it can find a market order-based trade, because I've said it is a market order to actually execute the trade. And once it does, then you'll see my trade. So let's say I want to do another company. So I hit compose. I don't have to do 200,000. I could do 50,000. I could do 90,000. I could do 87,361. I could do whatever amount, generally up to a quarter of my portfolio. So let's say I wanted to go long on United Health Group. Same idea. Put them in this class. Largest player in global healthcare and dominant position. Can't spell. Hopefully that's 50 characters. And again, how much do I want to buy? I'll buy another 200K. Send. So now I've made two trades. Right? So again, it's relatively easy to trade. And if I go into me, you'll now see the two companies that I've bought, but you'll notice over here, instead of a red X, it looks like a do not enter sign. So this is actually another rule. You can't sell until the next day. All right? Bloomberg allows real-time transactions. You can day trade. I've disabled that. Anything you buy today, you can't sell until the next business day. Anything you short today, you can't cover until the next business day. I only allow market orders. I've disabled all limit orders. All right, you can't just buy a bunch of stuff and let it be on autopilot. That's why the person you chose to be your portfolio manager is really important. Because if I bought Square and there's horrible news and the stock starts dropping like a rock, the only way to get out of that is your portfolio manager has to go in, log into Bloomberg, and manually sell it. There are no auto triggers. Same thing with shorting. Okay, so again, that's why it's important. Again, part of the reason why is I want you to pay attention throughout the semester. I don't want you to just set it up and run autopilot throughout the semester. So the person that's your portfolio manager needs to be paying a lot of attention, and the team needs to help that person because they're the only ones that can buy or sell, cover or short. Okay, and they have to manually do it using market orders. There are no limit orders that are being allowed. Right? I also disabled everything that's not equity. So no currencies, no commodities, no fixed income. Bloomberg would let you do it. I disabled all of that. Okay, so you can only go into equities and ETFs.
You can't
Okay, you could, but I disabled it.
What's
So
your reason behind that?
because this is a class called equity analysis, not commodity analysis. Seriously, like that's the point. Like this is about equities. So it's a very cool thing. And by the way, I'll just let you know, like Bloomberg actually runs this against other schools. Like that's the way this competition is originally set up. I'm actually sponsoring a team right now that does that. I think first prize is like 50 grand and a job at Bloomberg. And they bring the top 10 to New York, all expense paid. So if anybody's actually interested in participating in the cross-school competition, get a group of 5 people, we can actually play across schools. And if you want, you can play other stuff too, but this is the competition we're playing for this class for the grade. And you're only playing against your section. So each of the sections is competing only against its section. Okay, few more rules that matter. All right, when you're in here, you can go to settings. You can actually see the rules that I put in place. Right, so, and there's a summary of the rules over here. Okay, which I've also put on Elms. But basically, these are the key rules. Number 1, cost basis. This is next tick, which basically means you're doing market orders. You're not doing limit orders. Okay, and you got to put in 50 characters to buy or sell. Won't let you do it unless you type in the 50 characters. Auto close. I've disabled auto closing, which means you can't set it a certain target to actually buy or sell, which you could do, but I've disabled that. So the only way that you actually close out a position is your portfolio manager has to go in and sell or cover. Investment levels. The minimum amount that you can invest in a stock is $10,000. All right, you got $1 million to play with. I don't want you doing like a $100 investment. That's just a waste of your time. All right, and the most you can put is 20% of your portfolio value at the time of the trade in any one stock. So I could buy Square, Square goes up, I own more than 20%, that's okay. But then if I tried to rebuy it, I couldn't buy more than 20%. Okay, and cumulative, by the way, for stocks. All right, next, security restrictions. The short answer is I've restricted everything with the exception of buying and shorting. That's all you can do. Everything else has been restricted. And I've restricted you to major markets. Okay, so basically New York, London, Tokyo, Hong Kong, Frankfurt. Like you can't go to Beijing, but you can go to Hong Kong. Okay, so there's just certain markets that are less thinly traded. I just don't want you dealing with. So bigger companies around the world. Okay, and so again, the nice thing about this trading competition, if you put in a ticker and it sends and it goes through, you're allowed to do it. Okay, otherwise it'll tell you, sorry, it's a trade restriction. Right. In addition, minimum market cap 500 million US dollars. Okay, so you can't buy some biotech startup that's pre-IPO, okay, or it's about to go on IPO, or minimum price to buy or short $3 US and local currency equivalent. So no playing in penny stocks. So last semester, one of the students wanted to play the Sears bankruptcy, and they were trading like 11 cents, and the simulation wouldn't let him do it. By the way, he actually did it with real money in the real world and lost it all, which is they were in bankruptcy. How could he not? But nonetheless, so I'm not going to let you play around in penny stocks. Okay, so $3 is the minimum. Now here's the thing: if you pay $3 and it goes below, you can cover it if you're shorting, right? But if you buy it at 3, you cover it you're short at 3, cover it at 2, you won't be able to re-short it at 2 because it's below the $3 threshold. Same thing. If you buy a stock at 4 and it goes below 2, you can sell it, but you won't be able to buy any more once it drops down to 2. So $3 is the minimum amount you can buy. Yes?
You do options.
Options are not allowed. So yes, Bloomberg allows it. I do not. You can only go short or long. That's it in this class for this competition. All right. So a few more things. Minimum holding period. Again, I set it arbitrarily to 1 day, but recognize it's a business day. So that means if it's 5 p.m. today and I tried to buy Square, it won't execute until the market opens tomorrow. All right. If I buy a stock on the London Stock Exchange, it's based on the exchange time that London is open, not based on U.S. time. Okay, so if London's closed at 5 p.m. today, I gotta wait till London opens in the morning, like I put the trade in, but it'll execute the next day. All right, so it doesn't do after hours trading. And as I said, your minimum holding period is 1 day. Your commission is a penny a share, which is actually pretty much what big institutions pay anyways. So, buying 1,000 shares costs you, what's that? $1? Costs you $1. So it's not going to matter. All right, but nonetheless, you will be charged commissions. And let's see, do I have any other settings? I've disabled auto closing. When you do close, it'll trade at market value, and that's pretty much it. Other than the class rules. So those are the Bloomberg rules. So let me give you the class rules. I put these on the syllabus because, as you can see, what happened last semester, and I'll go back, is it got so ugly near the end that basically nobody wanted to trade. And you can actually look at the available cash. Like, what they did is they literally just were hoarding cash because basically everything they did lost money and they got gun shy about trading. And that's why the winning teams, their strategy was don't buy anything because everything they bought was just going to hell. So here's the thing. I don't care. So this semester, the market can be horrible. You're going to trade in the horrible market. It can be ugly. You're going to keep trading. You're not going to be able to sit in the sidelines. So starting 1 week from today, you must be at least 70% invested of your portfolio, which means you can't have more than $300,000 worth of cash. At any point in time, starting 1 week from today, if you have more than $300,000 worth of cash, you will be disqualified from the semester. Your entire team will lose 10% of their semester grade. So if you buy something, you must sell it and then immediately replace it with something else. Okay? If you short something, you must cover it and then find a way to use that cash. So don't go to cash, right? Cash equals disqualification above 30%. You must also have a minimum of 5 stocks working at any point in time. Okay, got to be at least diversified. By the way, with $1 million, it'd be hard to have less than 5 and meet the 70% threshold. Now you can have 20 stocks at 50,000 each. I don't care, but you got to have at least 5, right? And then finally, you have to make at least 10 different longs, regardless of however many shorts you do, in the first half of the semester. And 10 more longs, regardless of how many shorts you do, in the second half of the semester. So if you make 27 trades in the first 5 weeks, you have to make 37 trades by the end of the semester, otherwise you will be disqualified. So this is a trading competition, right? So that's the point. The only way you're going to learn is if you actually trade, okay? And again, you're going to be scored on relative performance against peers. Everybody's going to be subject to these rules. It'll actually be fun because that's the whole point. You're not just going to make decisions once and let it go for the semester. That's probably not going to be ideal. You could, but we'll see how that goes. Yes?
The 30% in cash, does that start today?
Starts 1 week from today. You got 1 week to figure out how to invest at least 70% of your portfolio. So I'm giving you 7 days. So by the end of the day, next Wednesday, I'm going to moderate and check that, and the TAs will check it. About once a week, we'll pull this up, see how we're doing this semester. Okay? Yes, sir.
How quickly do you have to invest? You're saying
Immediately. If you sell, you better have something else that's going into.
That's within the hours.
Just saying, by next day, when everything clears, the cash that's settled needs to be put someplace else. Unless you're under the $300,000 threshold or the 30% of your portfolio threshold. So what I'm saying is I want you to trade, okay? And that's the key point is you got to stay invested in the marketplace. So if you sell, it's not I'm going to sell and wait to see what happens in the market. I'm not saying that people wouldn't do that in the real world, but I don't want you to do it in this class. The only way you're going to learn is if you trade, okay? So I'm just saying that's why the person that you selected to be your portfolio manager is very important because they're the ones that are going to keep you in compliance. And if they screw it up on behalf of the team, the entire team will have an enforced low grade. There's nothing I can do to change that. That's why I'm being very clear up front that person has to have a lot of integrity and have a lot of trust by the rest of the team because they really are responsible for your grade. And if something happens to them, you got to find a way to get into that account, okay? Because otherwise we won't be able to stop what is happening in the marketplace, right? Because unfortunately, when you call the Bloomberg help desk, if something ever happens, they're gonna be like, "There's not much we can do." Okay? So I'm just letting you know what the game is up front. Hopefully, none of this will affect you. Just being very transparent about what the expectations are for the sim. And to be honest with you, you're gonna have a lot of fun with this. This is a really good learning experience. And as again, we'll be paying attention throughout the semester. Yes, sir.
Has there ever been a semester where the last place team made a positive return?
Absolutely. All right, a couple of semesters ago, the winning team was like 12, 13, 14%. And the losing team was like 8%. So when the market's good, everybody made a lot of money. It was really easy to pick Amazon and Facebook and Netflix, what they call the FANG stocks. Everybody bought the same stocks. Everybody made a lot of money, right? By the way, last semester they did the same thing. They bought all the FANG stocks. They lost 8%. So again, you buy Apple. Apple goes down 30%. It's really hard to make money if everybody's buying Apple. So again, can't tell you what the market's going to be. That's the fun of this. It's relative performance, and you'll get real-time grading against your peers, just like a real-world portfolio manager is. Because that's the other point of a portfolio. They're scored every quarter. The difference for them, they have a bad quarter, they get fired. So again, you're just losing 10% of your grade. I don't look at it as being that bad. It's actually not even 10%, because the worst you can do is a 2 out of 10. So it's not horrible. And there'll be extra credit, right? But hopefully you won't. Hopefully you'll score well. All right, other questions? Yes?
Have there ever been ties?
There's never been a tie. I guess there theoretically could be a tie. And if there is, I'd give you both the same grade. So if 2 teams tied for first, I'd give both of them 5 points. But I think that is practically unlikely. Okay. All right. And again, I don't count. Like my 2 trades are in there. I just did it for the heck of it. Like I'm not endorsing or not endorsing those companies. I just wanted to show you mechanically how the simulation worked. Okay. So however I do, I don't count. Right. Matter of fact, last semester I did really well because I literally made 1 trade at the beginning of the semester to show everybody, and I would have won like a couple of the sections just because the market was so bad that my 1 stock didn't do so bad. But regardless, that's not what we're going to do. All right, so for the rest of today, I'm going to save that for YouTube in case everyone wants to refer to this. We're going to talk about Lecture 2, so if you want to get back to your seats, we're going to start Lecture 2 and talk about Homework 3, which is due on Monday. Both due on Monday. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it in a second. Let's say February 6th.